we gotta get the music turned down.
Why? It's always a party. You can't stand over there. Huh? Yeah, it's right there behind the deal. Hey everybody, I'm letting you guys log in. We'll get started here in just a second.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you guys stand over here.
Oh, you said.
Yeah, I just bought this at the airport. Okay. Hey, there's some hearts.
Hi, guys.
Okay, now you can kill the music, right? Are you ready to get going?
I'm ready.
Are you guys all ready?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Do it again.
Oh, that sounds like a leader screaming.
Ready.
All right. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you all tonight and all of us out in Periscope world, because I understand there are plenty of people out there. We're excited tonight to bring you our special guest speaker. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some great information, and I hope you're all prepared to take a few notes and enjoy yourselves. So I really appreciate y'all coming out. I appreciate you all logging in tonight, and we'll get started here in just a minute. Our speaker tonight is Dr. Julie Pennick, and she's going to be sharing a lot of great information. But before she does, I just want to give a personal testimony about the fabulous magnesium. My husband, a few years ago, had bilateral knee replacement, and he was in a lot of pain, as you can well imagine. If you've ever seen him, there's scars from here to below the knee, and he had both knees done. His doctor had told him, you're going to have to really, so with physical therapy comes a lot of pain. And I told him, I said, honey, don't worry about it. We have got the best thing out there, the magnesium. And so he said, yeah, but how long does it take to work? And I told him, 26 seconds will have you out of pain like that. So we worked on it, and we worked on it, and we worked on it, and we would massage, and we'd slather him up, and then he would go to physical therapy. And when he'd come home, we'd fill that tub full of hot water and put him in those Dead Sea salts with magnesium, and I called it marinating. And we would marinate him so that that would take the muscle pain and the aches out and help relax those muscles. It was a miracle. His doctor was shocked. In 5 weeks, he was back to taking spin classes. Anybody know what spin class is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Torture.
They say hell on wheels. So he was able, though, in 5.5 weeks, he was completing his spin classes and back at spin. Wow. It is amazing. It is an amazing product. So I'm really eager tonight to learn more about magnesium. And of course, there are essential oils. So I appreciate you all being here and with us online. And without further ado, I want to introduce my upline, and one of my best friends is Tammy Bechtel. You're welcome.
So excited to be here. Julie and I have been friends for 20 plus years, and she's a neighbor of mine, and if you guys have not heard her speak, you are in for a huge treat. She has a lot of knowledge on alternative healthcare. She is certified nurse practitioner. She has her doctorate in nursing practices. She has a PhD in energy medicine. She has a THD in spiritual healing. And she's a hoot, so y'all are gonna love her. She is a great speaker, and she's just full of knowledge, and so I want to welcome Miss Julie Pennick, Dr. Julie Pennick.
Ouch, you got me on? Okay, so nobody in the room is going to have a problem hearing me, but I'm wearing a microphone so the people that are dialed in on the internet can hear me. I recognize some faces in here, and that's awesome to think that some of us have had the stick-to-itness to Nancy and this amazing product line that she launched just out of a desire to make a little extra money for things for her family as a stay-at-home mom, and making lotion bars out of her garage and soaps and selling them at Kickapoo's Craft Fair. And you know, our ability then to take the experience of lotion in a bar out to craft fairs and to shows in our homes and to see as the product line grew and to get to the point where we're talking about what we're talking about tonight. So yeah, I'm a nurse practitioner. The focus of my practice is on all holistic healthcare, alternative healthcare practices. I tell my patients I don't do drugs and they won't do drugs either. Now that's not to say that I don't have people who come to see me who are on prescription medications, but our goal is always to be able to restore the body to its natural balance. And when a body is well balanced, it doesn't need pharmacologic agents to get it well. And so what Nancy has brought into her world, into the Jordan Essential product line in the last few years, is the ability for each and every one of us to do what I do on a daily basis, and to bring a knowledge and a skill set relative to wellness to the people that you find yourself serving. So yeah, maybe they came to the product line because they enjoyed the lotion in the bar. That's what hooked me. I think I was rep number 23 in the company. Tammy, I think, was rep number 8, and we're sitting in a vehicle at the top of my driveway, and she said, I want you to feel something. And so she takes this lotion bar out and put it in my hand, and oh, this is really kind of weird. And I said, but I was hooked on it, right? So that was the hook. So now Nancy has grown this beyond that because our clients that we serve have responded really well to Nancy's due diligence in ensuring that the products are healthful and they're safe and they don't contain all of those nasty things that are in many, many, many other product lines that are quite honestly chemicals that are harmful and disrupt your natural hormone system, and they absorb through your skin. And that's why the slide was up here earlier, 26 seconds, and you know, it only takes 26 seconds for that stuff to get into your body from your skincare products. And so one of the first things that Nancy did was talked about and developed the magnesium lotion. So, you know, when I was growing up, my grandmother was an LPN, and I had 4 older brothers who were active in sports, and you know, every time there was like a stubbed toe or a twisted ankle or an injured knee or somebody jammed a finger, my grandma's first response was, well, soak it in Epsom salt and water. I really thought she was just a crazy old lady. I mean, I had some respect for my grandma, but she was really a crazy old lady. And when I came to the practitioner role and I started working in a clinic where we gave magnesium intravenously to people with acute and chronic pain issues, and I started reading the science behind magnesium and its ability to heal inflamed and traumatized tissues, I really had to apologize to my grandmother, who was then on the other side for quite some time, and say, you know, Juanita, you really knew what you were talking about. And I now tell my patients to soak in Dead Sea salts and magnesium Epsom salts, and for both chronic pain issues, to relieve traumatized tissues. The magnesium in your soaks, actually, I've done research on this, in fact, and the magnesium in your lotion will enter the body and it will restore tissue magnesium levels. Now, you notice I said tissue magnesium levels, not the kind of magnesium level they measure on a blood test, because by the time it's deficient in the bloodstream, your tissues are really in a world of hurt. So it restores magnesium levels at the tissue level, and one of the most sensitive tissues in the body to magnesium being at the levels that it's supposed to be is your heart muscle. And medicine knows very clearly that when a person starts having abnormal heart rhythms, that magnesium intravenously is one of the treatments that they do. Now, I'm fortunate in my practice. In fact, I had 3 people in my office today where I gave magnesium intravenously, but you all can't do that. You don't have access to that, right? And in our world here at Jordan Essentials, we evaluate people who come to us for our product line and to engage with us, and we look at the stressors in their life. And stress is a natural depleter of magnesium stores, particularly at the tissue levels. And the body will shift it out of the tissues where it is absolutely crucial. And so what are the most crucial tissues for magnesium in the body? Your muscles and your nerve pathways. And so anybody who has chronic muscle aches and pains, acute muscle aches and pains, any health alteration, I want to call them disease processes, any health alteration that has at the heart of it some sort of a pain complaint, they can benefit from what you have to offer in the magnesium lotion. Now, I haven't tested this product, but I have tested a transdermal magnesium lotion, very similar to the one that we have, in a real research setting, and compared it to 10 treatments intravenously of magnesium and 30 days using the lotion twice a day as recommended. And we found that the magnesium lotion used on the skin will restore tissue magnesium levels almost to the same level that 10 intravenous treatments will do. And so it takes a little bit longer, but for the person who has due diligence to stick with it, they will get the health value out of that. So now in your materials, you talk about all the things that magnesium can benefit. Anybody who has a complaint of chronic fatigue, in addition to chronic pain, anybody with a diagnosis, or we don't call them diagnoses in this world, we call them stress conditions. The stressor that most people would refer to as fibromyalgia, or the stressor that most people would refer to as chronic fatigue, or the stressor that most people refer to as chronic joint or muscle pain. So at the hallmark of any person who has struggled off and on with bouts of depression is a magnesium deficiency state. We actually took patients who came to our clinic with depression and we measured their tissue levels of magnesium, and 100% of them were depleted at the tissue level of magnesium. So here are the things that we know that magnesium can be of value. Now, let's start at the bottom, because people would say, well, why high blood pressure? Now, think back to what I said about the two tissues in your body that are particularly sensitive to magnesium. Muscle tissue, and all of the vasculature is lined with a form of a smooth muscle, right? And your nerve fibers. And so part of blood pressure control comes from signals from the nervous system that tells about the ability to stretch, and the muscle allows it to have the ability to stretch. And so that's one of the ones I think people think are more esoteric. Fatigue, we talked about that one already. Here's something that you probably don't want to know. It's a little more than you want to know. For those of us who were educated in the biochemical sciences, we think about the Krebs cycle, and that's where adenosine triphosphate is made. Well, ATP is the energy molecule for the mitochondria in your cell, and so that is your cell's powerhouse. It is city utilities plant inside of every cell. And so in order to get rid of the fatigue, you need to have effective production of ATP, and you have to have two magnesium molecules come into that cycle. And when you're deficient in magnesium, you're not making efficient use and efficient molecules of ATP. Respiratory issues is very interesting. Your entire lungs are lined with smooth muscle, and when smooth muscle is deficient in magnesium, it can't relax properly, so therefore it can't work properly. And if you went into, we actually have a hospital in Branson that does this now, but I used to say if you went into any emergency room on the European continent with an acute asthma attack, one of the first things they would give you is intravenous magnesium, because they know that relaxes the lungs and muscles and then allows the lungs to be able to exchange oxygen. Eye twitches, sometimes people just get those little eye twitches and they're jumping. There are a set of several muscle groups that we test when we see people in the office that control these muscles in and around the eye orbit, and so when they get deficient, you can get the eye twitch. Poor memory, and I think that goes back to the cellular energy piece. If you're deficient in magnesium, you're not going to be able to have the energy to be able to have the mental stamina that you need. Anxiety. Magnesium can absolutely, in many, many, many cases, it causes a relaxation response, very similar to what deep breathing can do. And so sometimes if you can get magnesium into somebody fairly quickly, and you can't do it as quickly with your topical products that you use, but over time, your people who present to you with the stressor of the feelings of anxiety, right, because we don't diagnose, can benefit from this. Nausea. Nausea, once again, think about what the digestive system is lined with, smooth muscle. And so when the smooth muscle doesn't work right, body can have symptoms. Tremors, magnesium plays a role in relaxing the entire muscular and the entire nervous system. And so when a person has tremors, they may benefit from having magnesium replaced. We already talked a lot about muscle cramps, and then the overall weakness goes along with the fatigue. And so you have a very valuable tool in your chest when you want to engage with your clients and you want to talk to them about the stressors that they are exposed to on a daily basis. And when the stressor resembles one of these conditions, you can talk to them about using the magnesium lotion. I sell magnesium lotion to my patients. Yeah, they know the benefit of magnesium, and some of them have actually benefited from magnesium intravenously in my practice, but the majority of my women continue to buy the magnesium not because of any of these things, because they believe it's the most nourishing skin moisturizer that they've ever had. And I think it has something they don't get this, that it is making the underlying tissue healthier because it's bringing up tissue levels of magnesium, and therefore those tissues can work better and hold on to the hydration sources that it gets, etc. And so that's a great deal about magnesium. Now, do you all want me to take any questions now, or do we want to wait?
Do
Anybody?
you have any questions at home?
Anybody have any questions in the room? Okay,
No, I
well,
would just ask
if you
her
think
if
of
they
something,
then I'll ask you.
jot it down and we'll go through it. Tammy, you want to go to the next slide? So we're here tonight to talk about the oils and the opportunity within. So I love peppermint oil. I'm probably not going to tell you a whole lot of things you don't know about peppermint oil. Peppermint oil has been used for centuries, like all of the essential oils, because the oils predate the modern pharmaceutical industry, which was birthed in the version that we see of it today in about 1975. You know, anybody see those commercials on TV for the product called Head On, you know, for people's headaches? Well, I mean, one of the main ingredients in that is peppermint oil, right? So peppermint oil can be very energizing. So people like it in their skincare products, they like it in their lotions, they like it in their soaps. It heightens mental alertness. That's not anything new. It is great for nausea. I keep peppermint oil with me. I do not do roads with twisty curves in them very well, and so I keep peppermint oil with me. And when I start feeling that nausea, I put a little peppermint oil on the tip of my finger and rub it under my tongue. If I have anybody in my practice who's experiencing nausea, I do the same thing with them, although I don't put my finger in their mouth. I put it on the tip of their finger and let them put it in their own mouth. But, you know, they're amazed that it can take away nausea almost immediately. Anxiety, absolutely. You know, if you have somebody who's feeling anxious, you wave it under their nose, rub it on their temples, pressure points behind their knees, on the back of their neck. It's a great aid in when somebody's feeling the stressors of anxiety. One thing that I learned from another practitioner many years ago, that a good use for peppermint oil is, you know, we're not all asthmatics, but every once in a while we all feel like we're a little short of breath, or we've got a cough that just won't stop. And so one day she's sitting in my office and she's got this cough that won't stop, and so she grabs my peppermint oil, she puts a drop on the back of her hand and she licks it. And instantaneously her cough was gone. Yeah, I know what your oils say, not for ingestion, right? Well, is licking it with the tongue ingesting it? I'm not sure, because I'm not sure it ever really makes it to your stomach. But I had never seen that. And so that's a trick that you can use with just about anybody. So anxiety, stressors, nausea stressors, people who just are wound up all the time, you know, these like my sister-in-law, these high-strung people who don't know how to relax. It's great for relaxation. It's great if you need a pick-me-up in the afternoon just for a little mental alertness. Oh yeah, so, and I'm talking, you know, wellness issues, but certainly you want to keep the things around your home well, right? So you can put a drop in anything you want to keep smelling good. The bottom of the trash can that my husband complains about all the time stinks. You know, when he says, "Oh, I've got to wash that out again," I said, "Well, you wouldn't need to do that if you pour a little more peppermint oil in there." So those are the kind of things that peppermint oil can really be of value when you're working with the people that you work with, who come to you for all this amazing products that you have, and then they start talking about other issues and stressors in their life, and you say, well, you know, wait a minute, let's talk a little bit more about that, and then you can introduce them to the values of this. Let me give you a little history before we move on about the connection between peppermint oil and anxiety, and it's not just on the surface of things. What most of us don't know is that 70% of your neurotransmitters, the ones that they make medications to manipulate, are actually produced in your intestines, your small intestines. And so when we have the ability to get the smell of the oils into the digestive system through inhaling, licking on the back of the hand, rubbing it under the tongue, you're actually stimulating the neurotransmitter factories in your small intestines to boost serotonin naturally. And that's one of the medications that they would treat people in order to decrease both their feelings of stress, of anxiety, or their stressors of feeling depression, melancholic, etc. Did I hit everything you wanted me to hit? Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. So, yeah. I'm saying if you haven't tried that yet, you missed the boat because you probably already own the product, right? No. Okay.
Not yet.
Well, now you will after tonight. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, to dovetail on that, you probably should get you some magnesium lotion. And you start rubbing that on you a little bit before you anticipate that slump in the afternoon, right? Because that's going to help energize you. The peppermint, we have a peppermint magnesium lotion. You could get 2 birds with 1 stone that way. But yeah, smelling. Okay, so I'm gonna tell on myself. I have a couple of really young grandchildren, and kids can get real testy and irritable. I keep the peppermint, the spray peppermint lotion, and when they start getting that, I just spray it all over them. Yeah, I'm gonna calm those kids down. And at first it's like, what is this? And then they start looking around, and then they just kind of naturally calm down. And so my daughter, who has 2 of those children, thought I was crazy. Of course, she sends all of her friends to see me because I am crazy. And so now she always makes sure that she has her own bottle of peppermint spray. And my 3-year-old grandson is so conditioned to it that sometimes, he's getting frustrated about something, and he says, I think I'm going to go to my room and spray some peppermint spray so I can calm down. Now, is it going to the room so he can remove himself from the stress? Is it going to his room and spraying the peppermint? He's conditioned to believe that those things go hand in hand. And is that because his grandma sprayed it on the bottom of his feet every time he wanted to cry when I was watching him? Maybe. Maybe. So, but you absolutely should try that. It will absolutely give you a burst. And all of you have tried it. No, it will absolutely give you a quick pick-me-up. I like it in my soap because it's really refreshing, and it really brings you to a heightened level of alertness, more so than just a regular bar of, Irish Spring or something like that. So yeah, it's absolutely worth a try. Okay, tea tree oil. Now, we've all heard about tea tree oil, melaleuca oil, etc. I did some research this afternoon because I thought, well, everybody really knows a lot about tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is a great immune system enhancer. So if you see any of your clients who are talking to you, and you might be dealing with them with their eczema, stress on their skin, and you're telling them all about the oatmeal milk and honey soap and how well that does for them, and then you follow that up with the oatmeal milk and honey lotion bar to seal in all that goodness that they got from the soap. I'm shipping that down to Louisiana now because I have a great that's how old I am. Wow. I have a great niece who's having a big problem with eczema. And I finally convinced them. I brought them some down on my last trip, and I said, lather up with this and follow with the lotion bar, and the skin is responding, and it's almost amazing. Now, have they removed the stress to her immune system? So all of that to say that eczema is a stress on the immune system. And that stress to the immune system comes from the digestive system. So now where have we heard digestive system? How many times here? Magnesium impacts that positively. Peppermint impacts that positively, right? And so when your digestive system is demonstrating stress, you don't properly digest your food. And so then food particles that are never supposed to get into your bloodstream get into your bloodstream. And so what is supposed to digest your food in your stomach? Your enzymes. Well, the biggest cache of enzymes to digest that food that your stomach didn't digest and your small intestine didn't digest is in your white blood cells. And what do we know about white blood cells? They are your immune system's first responder to anything inflammation, infection. That's what causes pus to come out of your wound, right? All those dead white blood cells. So now you're spending all your white blood cells trying to digest the food that your stressors in your digestive system couldn't do. And now your immune system is going down because it doesn't have the resources that it needs, and the white blood cell count is low. And so I like using tea tree oil, yes, on the bottom of the feet, but to be perfectly honest, I had children who would get these patches of eczema behind their knees and in the crooks of their elbows during the winter, right? And in the winter, the immune system goes down naturally because the thyroid has to kick in more to keep your body warm, and that's a whole other topic of conversation. And I would use it, cut it with a little bit of one of the carrier oils, and just rub it directly on the patches of eczema. Now, if you have somebody who has a stress of eczema on their entire body, that's hard to do. But if you have patches, that's another great use for tea tree oil. You will find tea tree oil utilized in a lot of products. It is topically on the skin antibacterial. It is, as I discovered through my research today, highly antifungal. And I don't know how many of you ever hear your clients talking about yeast issues and candida specifically. I didn't know that until I did my research today. It would not have typically been my oil to go to for candida issues, but there have been a lot of research studies published in the Journal of Clinical Microbiology about using tea tree or melaleuca against many of the more virulent strains of the fungus we call candida. So that was something that I learned today. It is great topically used for asthma. Personally, I used to use it full strength. I probably wouldn't recommend that. It kind of stings a little. But you can certainly put it in your carrier oil. You can add it to the lather in your soap. You can put it in your shampoo to boost that for getting rid of, a lot of times flakiness and dandruff comes from a little bit of a fungal problem on the scalp. And so it can help you manage all of those things. You can take tea tree oil and you can inhale it to help open up the sinus cavities. I don't know how many of you all are old enough to remember the little Vicks things that our parents used to use, and they used to just, put it up your nose. And I don't mean the goopy stuff, they would put that up your nose too, but the little stick, right? And all you did was took a whiff of that. Well, it's not tea tree oil, but it's a similar fragrance, right? And so it can help open up those sinus passages acutely. I've actually seen people sniff tea, that sounds terrible, they're sniffing tea tree oil. Sniff tea tree oil to help relieve sinus type headaches. And combining it, I saw a lot of research about combining tea tree oil with some grapefruit seed oil. Grapefruit seed oil has high coverage for fungal issues, and using those in carrier oils to treat topical skin stressors that the medical community would call jock itch or athlete's foot or those type things. I took a trip to Jerusalem, something I've always wanted to do. My husband and I took a trip to the Holy Land last October, and I took my Jordan Essentials tea tree oil and lavender oil with me as part of my, bring and be prepared for everything kind of kit. And we had the opportunity to be baptized in the Jordan River, which was just amazing, right? That was just a trip of a lifetime. But the little fish in the Jordan River love to snip on your legs. And so the day after that, one of the older ladies in our tour group had a horrible rash on her legs. And it had a appearance of a fungal stressor to me. And so the first thing I gave her that first day was the lavender, because that's typically my go-to for fungal issues. And the next morning it didn't really look good. And I thought, well, I can't let J.E. and myself look bad because we didn't help this lady's rash. So I said, well, maybe that was the wrong one. So I gave her my tea tree oil, and we put that on that. And by the end of the day, even though we were walking around in the sun and sweating, her rash was about 50% better. And I gave her my bottle, and I said, take this to the room tonight, mix it either with your lotion or put it on straight if it didn't bother you today. And when she got up the next morning, the rash was about 80% gone. And I just gifted that bottle of tea tree oil to her. Now, that wouldn't have been what I thought it would have done. I would have thought that the lavender would have done it, because I really think it was some little fungus from the fish's mouths, right? And fungus grows in those nice warm places like fish live. Could have been bacterial. You will find that tea tree oil is probably what more people talk about for bacterial skin type stressors that people get, like the acne and that sort of thing. Anything else you all wanted me to talk about when it came to tea tree, and how am I doing on time? I'm okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
I'm okay? Okay.
Yeah, you're just wrapping it up at the last one.
Okay, so lemon oil. Now, I had a lot of fun researching about lemon oil today. I knew that there was research done out of, other countries embrace the oils, right? Probably, I would say, because they don't have the FDA. But they really embrace it, and they embrace it as a preferential modality. They do have all of the same prescription medications that we have. And I had read some studies a few years ago about lemon oil. Let me see a raise of hand. How many of you in this room have heard about the problem that we see cropping up all over the time all over the place all the time, and we tend to think about it coming out of institutional medical care settings, whether that's hospitals, nursing homes, etc. Heard of methicillin-resistant staph, MRSA, right? And so MRSA is getting to be a big problem, and I see people in the outpatient setting who haven't been in any of those settings, and they're young children cropping up with MRSA. I treated some of the Bechtel boys who just crop up with MRSA out of the blue. I read a research study probably about 2 years ago out of Cairo, Egypt, where they utilized lemon oil topically, and it was the most effective agent that they had against MRSA. So I started recommending that to my clients when they had a stress of a skin manifestation that I believed resembled MRSA. So how do we diagnose MRSA? You're not going to diagnose it, but if you see a funky skin rash, maybe it looks like a spider bite, and you say, well, when did that stress hit your neck or that your leg or whatever? You're not going to cause anybody any problems if you say, you know, I understand that using these essential oils, particularly lemon oil, can really be successful in helping deal with the stress related with this skin stressor that you're facing, right? I learned something really fun about lemon oil that I hadn't thought about. It has highly antifungal properties. Not that you and I would think about it. I definitely don't think about it that way. But think about this. What happens to your strawberries when you buy them and you don't eat them within a couple of days? They start getting moldy, right? Yeah. So one of these research articles, what they did was they did a delivery of lemon oil 3 different ways to the strawberries and prevented the strawberries from molding. And so I would say, how easy would it be for you to fill your sink with cold water, put a few drops of your lemon oil in there, and rinse all of your strawberries in there, and then put them away in your fridge? Test that out and come back and let Nancy know, did that delay the rate at which your strawberries got moldy? Can you keep them longer? And you don't have to buy those fancy little green things that cost you a truckload of money to keep your foods from spoiling, right? Most of what I saw about the citrus-based oils in the research that I did this afternoon surprised me. Grapefruit, orange, lemon, is that they have a lot of practical uses in the food industry for prevention of these type issues when it comes to the foods molding. And so keep that in the back of your mind as you're talking to people, in addition to their skin stressors. Lemon oil also can give you a nice little jolt of alertness. I certainly know people who have been known to put a drop of lemon oil in their water at a restaurant along with their stevia and make themselves a little bit of a homemade lemonade there, and save yourself spending $2 on a soda pop that is not good for your health, that costs them about 2 cents to make. And you know, that's the highest profit margin thing there is in a restaurant, by the way. That and the tea that you drink. You know, Tammy was in the office. I mean, Tammy was at my house the other day, and she was talking about her daughter-in-law who had just gone through C-section for having twins, and how all of the adhesive that they had put over her surgical incision was still there. And all Tammy did was take her lemon oil, put it on a cotton ball, and that stuff that her daughter-in-law had tried to scrub off for quite some time came off like it was, just like nothing. Just came right off. And that's a lot better and a lot healthier. You can certainly go to Walgreens and buy those little pads that they have that have the stuff to remove that stuff, but that's got nasty stuff, toxic, that gets into your skin, because how many seconds does it take for that stuff to get from your skin into your body?
26.
26 seconds, exactly. You can use, you can use it to sanitize surfaces in your home, makes your home smell good. Mr. Clean knew that. That's why a lot of Mr. Clean's products smell like lemon, right? I'm sure he has a lot of things in addition to good essential lemon oil in his products, and I'm probably not sure he has any real essential lemon oil in his products, but he makes them smell good, so something in there is lemon. And I would suspect that whoever started those formulas probably had a grandmother who was using some lemon that she either zested or lemon oil that she got a hold of and was using that to disinfect the home. We already talked about it will do mental alertness. We didn't talk about that, but you certainly, people who are distressed, and I'm not one of these women who has to keep a clean house. In fact, Tammy was at my house this morning. I said, I'll make your coffee because I don't really want anybody to see my kitchen floor.
It's the same wonderful kit that we all got well, maybe some of us.
Sorry, yours wasn't so good 16 years ago.
Yeah, 16 years ago, we got a lotion bar and a couple of bars of soap that the ears on the pig broke off, or the bunny broke off. Yeah,
The pig, did she say
those were the days. But we have a wonderful kit. Get with the person that invited you tonight, or brought you, or gave you the invitation, and talk with them a little bit more about what we have to offer. With that said, I'm going to give you just a little bit of story about myself. And I came into this business 16 years ago with huge medical bills. So my desire was to make an extra $50 to $100 a month. I did. So I encourage you, my first check, actually, I signed up the day after my birthday on the 23rd of March. And by the 31st of March, when I would qualify to get my first check, I made $69.71. And I thought, woo, this is wonderful. That's that extra $50. Next month, my paycheck jumped again. It was up over $100. I was so excited. And I had a whole month that month. You know, I just kept going and booking more parties and talking to more people. And, you know, it's just sharing. It's building relationships with people. So I came in 16 years ago with the $50 to $100 goal. I achieved that. I achieved that.
You think?
And I want to tell you that this business is based on building customers. This product is consumable. We use it. We use it up. We buy more. Your customers do the same thing. And you build those relationships, and they become dependent on you to guide them in directions and share with them what their issues are and how you possibly can help them. So I encourage you to really work, if you start this business or if you're already here, really work on those relationships and your customer base. And why I tell you this is 6 years ago, I was in a very, very serious accident. I am thankful to be here today, beyond measure. It was so close to me not being here tonight. And for almost 2 years, I was in therapy. And so I wasn't able to go out and work as much as obviously as I wanted to or needed to. But because I had worked from when I started to 2010, I had built a fabulous customer base. And my husband posted on my webpage, I'd been in an accident, but I was still here and I was still taking care of him, and he was by my side to help me with that. And then my upline, Tammy, was there to also help support that. That if he could not answer their questions, he would have help. He had support. And that's what we're all here, is to support each other. So I want to encourage you to know that you're not here by yourself. We're all here for you. But had I not had that customer base, and I wouldn't still be in business. It provided me income for several years beyond that, and during a time when I was not able to provide for myself or my family. So this is a fabulous potential for you. There are so many doors of opportunity. Just remember that the door's wide open. I mean, the world is at your feet. So I hope you've had a great time tonight, and I'm going to turn it back over to Tammy because she's going to share a couple of little things for you. But I've really enjoyed being here with you tonight and with you all, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Well, I get to finish, so I've got a couple things. First of all, Nancy talked about potential. I was reading the other day that the average person uses 10% of their potential. 10%, that's it. So if you will just tap in to just a little more, look how much more you can achieve. And speaking of tapping into their potential, Debbie left out a little story that I have to share because it's hilarious for you guys that know her now and didn't know her back when she started. She was doing everything I did. Whatever I told her to do, she did. She was awesome as a rep. However, she wasn't sponsoring. And one night, we were at one of our local meetings. Julie was probably even there. We were at Julie's house.
Yeah, that's
We were at Julie's
right.
house.
And you're in that big chair. Right
We
there.
were at Julie's house. She was sitting in a chair and she was pouting. Oh my gosh, she was so upset. She's crying. I think she's crying. And she was so mad because she was not sponsored. She was doing everything that I was doing, but not getting the same results. If y'all know Debbie Aging and y'all know me, we are nothing alike. Nothing. And we told Debbie, you are not me. You cannot do what I do. Yes, we have the same products. Yes, we have the same opportunity, but you know those. Go out and do your own potential. What is your ability? What are your talents? Who are you? And she said, I'm going to go and talk from my heart, shoot from my hip. That was her slogan. The next night, I think she sponsored 5 people.
That's awesome.
6 people. She never stopped after that because she tapped in to her potential, to her ability and her talents. And we all have that. So if you feel like you're failing, and I know some of you probably do, who are you trying to be like? Sherry, you're not Bev. You know? We're not. Michelle, you're not like me. I'm so blessed to be with so many of these nurturing women. I love that. They have really blessed me. But that's not me. And so I encourage you all to find out what is your talent and do it. Change it. Where do you want to be in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And if you are doing what you want to do, then that's fine. You know, we love our customers and we love our hostesses. But if it's not, make a change tonight. Make that decision. I want to change my life. And come join us. I have been debt-free since 2009. I love that I can do what I want to do. Seems like I'm busier than ever, though. But we bought a camper. We bought a lake home. But our camper, we go, and my kids moved 2 years ago to Georgia and took my 3-year-old grandson, and now I have 4-month-old twin grandsons along with that. So we go see them about every 6 to 8 weeks. Georgia's a 15-hour drive without stopping. So it's a long ways, but my husband and I would take our camper and we will go do a show. I meet up with reps along the way and we make it worth it, and I write it all off. It's great. And I see my babies. So make a plan. What do you want? What's your goal? And then work to achieve that goal. One of my biggest goals was to get my husband retired. I love to work. I can't imagine just staying home. My husband could not, he hated his job. And so at 56, 2 years ago, we retired him. He quit his job. It worked out perfect. His father-in-law got sick, or my father-in-law got sick, passed away. He was there. I mean, what a blessing. And now he's been there for his 90-year-old mother, who, it's worked out wonderful. We bought a lake home. He totally redid it. And he couldn't travel with me. And I was saying, I'm going to see my babies every 6 weeks. And he ran out of vacation. That's when he quit. He was like, I'm going with you. So what do you all want to do? What kind of life do you want? Jordan Essentials is your vehicle to get there. You just have to tap into your potential. So we've helped you. Nancy has a few things I want to share. Not only are we have the special this month, she has changed our requirement, our structural requirement for the summer. And we'd really like her to keep it, so we need to work this. But the summer thing is we've taken off the structural requirements, so it's easier to rise to the top and it's easier to build a team. We've also changed another program. It's called our $50 Bring a Buddy bonus, cash bonus training. So when you bring somebody in, and like Michelle bring Tracy in, and Tracy, she's helping Tracy do her show. And by the way, if you all don't know how to get started, you can buy the kit, or you can say, hey, you know, I want to do a party, and I want to see if this is a good fit for me and my friends. I want to see if my friends will support me. let's do a party. She signs up that night. She can use her credit from her hostess credit and use that towards her kit. So that's a really good way to sign up and save some money. But when you do some requirements, when you get this, when your new rep does her Smart Start 2, which is $500 within your first 35 days, which is usually your first party, and you are doing $500 a month, you get a $50 cash bonus. So that's for one person. What if you sponsor 5 this month? How much is that? $250. What if you do 10? $500. In February, I sponsored 9. That would have been $450 extra. Extra. How amazing is that? So we have got everything in place. It's going to be a phenomenal summer. And I just encourage all of you, right now is a good time to do it. We are doing our convention is in next month. It's in Kansas City. So it's a fun drive. We'll just head up there, all of us. And it's going to be a lot of great learning, very affordable. To get in, new consultants pay only $125 to go to conference, which is extremely affordable. So I encourage all of you to also put that on your list to do. So earn it. An average party, $400 is $100 cash in your pocket. So very easy to make the money to come do this. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I want to thank, we brought some snacks and some drinks and stuff, and we've got some prize drawings, so we're going to do that here in a minute. But to Debbie and Bev and Nancy, thank you for sharing. To my good friend Julie, thank you so much for all your knowledge and all your support. You know, she's a consultant with Jordan Essentials, but I tell you, she has a lot on her plate, and she's always supported us and always been there. And I love that she comes in and helps me out. She's such a wonderful friend. And I also want to thank all of you for being here, because without you, we are nothing. We are nothing without reps. We are nothing without customers. So thank you so much for being here. And I just hope to see all of you join us, because we are an amazing family together. So good night, everybody out there.